They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want to.
Come on, for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Hello viewers, welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am Ruth Awudi. The Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 mandates ICPC to use all legal means to rid Nigeria of all forms of corruption while promoting probity, accountability, transparency and integrity in the public and private lives of citizens. Many individuals whose cases have been handled by the Commission and found wanting have either been sanctioned or punished to serve as deterrents to others. We bring you highlights of 5 of these convictions as secured by ICPC between January and June 2018. We have drama, ethics and values, and many more. This is the outlook on today's edition.
Corruption not in my country.
So, now, straight to business.
Good.
Now, that case between State versus Femi Wole.
Femi Wole.
Yes.
Is he your son?
That's my apparent.
Did he actually kill the wife?
His juvenile delinquency, they must have taken some few bottles.
A man of 40. Juvenile delinquent?
Now, what do we do? I don't want him to go to jail.
We are very good friends. But for this, I cannot help you.
You know I was so nice to you in school. I took care of you.
I'll politely leave.
No, you can't leave. How much do you want me to pay?
Wale, this is not about money. It's about the law. Bribing a judge to subvert the cause of justice is corruption. Not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
You are watching Corruption Must Go. Today's edition features ICPC's convictions secured between January and June 2018 as Murna Barnabas Atiaye takes us through the details. Welcome to this segment of the program. I am Murna Barnabas Atiaye. From January to June this year, ICPC secured 16 convictions out of 297 number of cases pending in various courts across the country, with various jail terms handed down to the convicts. The first conviction that comes to mind is the case involving a federal pay officer, Mr. Lawal Wilson Olusegun, who was sentenced to 127 years imprisonment for diverting 103 million naira meant for infrastructural development and meal subsidy of 3 federal government colleges. The convict was charged before Honorable Justice Olatokunbo Majokodumi of Ogun State High Court in Abeokuta by ICPC on a 24-count charge bordering on abuse of office and embezzlement of public funds. The court found him guilty on all the 24 counts and then sentenced him to 5 years in jail on each of the 20 counts for violating Section 19 of ICPC Act 2000. The sentences were to run concurrently. Also, a Chief Magistrate, Mohammed Balogun,
was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment by an Abuja High Court for demanding a bribe of 100,000 naira from a litigant for the purpose of giving him favorable judgment. Balogun was charged before Justice Ishaq Bello by ICPC on a 2-count charge bordering on demanding and receiving a bribe from Dr. Isidore Nadi, who was a party in a case before him. Justice Bello, before handing down the sentence, lamented that the actions of the convict had brought shame to the judiciary. He said, and I quote, "Your plea for leniency will not hold water because you deserve an appropriate sentence to send a message to the general public that the judiciary will not condone corruption even among the top judicial officers." End of quote. In the same vein, a Bauchi State High Court sentenced Mr. Shoyemi Latif to 9 years imprisonment for misleading the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PITAD, into paying 586,000 naira to a non-pensioner, Mr. Saliu Oba Amau. The court also sentenced Amau to 9 years in jail for providing fake bank details in the name of Ishakudas to PITAD for the purpose of misleading the agency into paying him pension benefits. ICPC, in a 6-count charge, told the court that the convicts conspired to steal pension money between November and December 2013, when Latif inserted Amau's name as Ishakudas in the list of retirees meant to be paid by PITAD in return for an undisclosed favor, an action that contravenes Section 25, subsection 1A of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 and punishable under Section 25, subsection 1B of the same Act. Justice Suleiman, in his ruling, found them guilty on all the counts and therefore sentenced them to 1 year and 6 months on each count, which will run concurrently without an option of fine. ICPC also secured the conviction of 2 men, Olushola Alabi and Balogun Teslim, over visa fraud. The accused persons were charged before Honorable Justice Mojishola Dada of a Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja on 3 counts bordering on procuring false documents to mislead a constituted authority. The court also heard that the convicts procured a false annual leave letter from the United Bank of Africa to mislead the United States of America USA Consulate, Victoria Island, Lagos, into believing that they were staff of the bank in order to facilitate the approval of their visa applications. Both men were sentenced to 2 years imprisonment each with an option of fine. Similarly, an Oyo State High Court sitting in Ibadan convicted 3 former police officers and sentenced one of them to 3 years in jail for collecting bribe from an armed robbery suspect, Badmus Akojode. The convicted police officers are Tajuddin Olalere, Akomu Kabiru, and Omotosho Lawrence. But it was only Kabiru that was convicted to 3 years in prison by the trial judge, Justice A.I. Akintola. Olalere and Lawrence could not be sentenced by the court because they had earlier jumped bail. The ex-police officers were arraigned by ICPC on a 4-count charge bordering on asking and receiving gratification from a suspect in the course of investigating a robbery case. The accused, who had earlier pleaded not guilty when the charge was read to them, were nonetheless found culpable by the court. Therefore, prompting the judge to sentence one of them to prison, while those that had jumped bail would be made to face the music once apprehended.
Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything. Bye-bye. Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going?
Oh, you never shake body. You never shake body.
Shake body, see?
Never shake body.
I don't get combo for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
What's this man still doing here?
They say I should shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I should do this. And I say I don't get combo.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
Police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
All the above convicts took advantage of their office and the public trust placed on them to commit fraud, thinking they would escape the long arms of the law. The Commission believes that the convictions will not only serve as punishment to the convicts, but deterrence to other Nigerians who might want to abuse their positions for personal gain. With me in the studio is Mr. Sonny Eziana, ICPC Legal Department. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, what do you make of all these?
Well, first of all, I want to say it's a welcome development. It's a step in the right direction, and like we all know, conviction does not just serve for punishment, it also serves for deterrence. So that when the members of the public become aware that anybody that dips his hand into our commonwealth and is found wanting will face the full wrath of the law, I think it will achieve the aim of deterrence. So it's a step in the right direction. So, looking at these convictions, I want to first of all appreciate the legal officers of the Commission who put in painstaking effort to ensure that these convictions are secured. I tell you, it's no mean feat. I know what we pass through in the field. And a lot of things have come into play in ensuring that these convictions are secured expeditiously. First of all, let me talk about the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. We know that in the SY dispensation, that's in the past, a lot of things come into play in making it difficult to secure expeditious conviction. Defense counsel raise a lot of frivolous applications. They do a lot of things to frustrate trial. But in the present dispensation under the new Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, there are some innovations in that act that ensure expeditious trials in criminal cases. Like Section 306, which says that stay of proceedings in a criminal trial shall not be entertained by the court. Now, what we had in the past is, whenever, in some situations, when the prosecution closes its case, the other party will go on appeal, and then will ask the court to stop the trial until they exhaust the process of appeal, both at the Court of Appeal and even up to the Supreme Court. Sometimes, a judge can make just a simple ruling against the defendant, and his counsel will go on appeal and ask the judge to stop the trial. He will bring an application for stay of proceedings. But the Administration of Criminal Justice Act says that the court shall not entertain any application for stay of proceedings. So what that means is that even if they go on appeal, the case will continue. And again, another commendable provision of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act is Section 98, subsection 2, which says that the chief judge of a state cannot transfer a matter as long as the prosecution have fielded some witnesses. I had a recent experience where I closed my case in a court of law. It's an ongoing case. I closed my case, and rather than open their defense, they wrote a petition against the judge and asked the chief judge to transfer the matter to another court. But they were told that by the provisions of Section 98, subsection 2 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, the chief judge cannot transfer the matter because the prosecution has led some witnesses. So that provision also aids in expeditious disposition of criminal cases. So once the prosecution has put in some witnesses or even closed their case, the chief judge can no longer transfer the matter. And adding to that, I also want to commend the management of the commission. The acting chairman, immediately he came in, his body language, his general disposition made it very clear to everybody that this man is here to do business. And some of the things he has put in place is motivating the lawyers to put in their best. So I want to commend the acting chairman for the steps he has taken so far in motivating the lawyers to get to work. And we can all see that short-term results are being yielded. And also the new acting head of the prosecution department, I can call him a motivator anytime, anywhere. When you sit with him and talk, when you work with him, you know that you just have to up your game. So I commend the chairman, and I also commend the new acting head of prosecution department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny Eziana, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Notwithstanding the limitations we observed in the enforcement mandate, we've made some innovations within the commission that will help, particularly in realizing our enforcement mandate. That is, under the investigation activities of the commission, we have now made it lawyer-driven process. By lawyer-driven process or investigation, I mean that at every stage of the investigation, input of lawyers must be sourced. So immediately we receive any petition, we start with determining whether actually that petition is within our mandate or not. That is pre-investigation stage. Then during investigation, we make sure that a lawyer is attached to the team of investigators, such that any legal issue that comes up in the course of their investigation, lawyer is always there to help. And when the investigation is over, we still need the input of lawyer who, since he's the person that will be going to court, it is for him to vet the petitions or not. So this is one of the things we introduced in the enforcement area.
you for watching this edition of the program. Nigerians are expected to draw lessons from these convictions by being upright in their conduct and doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Let's steer clear of corruption and make Nigeria great again. Thank you and see you again next week. I am Ruth Awodi.